What is going on, Tan and J Man Show Nation? It is episode 377 of the Tan and J Man Show. I'm Tanner Lee, my co-host. Joining me live on the Central Time Zone over in Illinois, Josh the J Man Montz. How we doing, J Man?
Pretty good. Pretty
Yeah.
good. Final season of Curb Your Enthusiasm started last night, so
Oh, okay.
feeling pretty good.
Now,
Pretty good.
now I have never been a big watcher of that show. I probably should one of these days. Did they take that show off for a while and it came back, or has it been a continuous?
Yeah, so it was on like 2001-ish to 2010.
Okay,
Then it was off the air for probably 5 or 6 years, and then it came back
okay,
2016 or 2017. But
okay.
yeah, so this is the final one. I haven't watched the first episode yet, but I'm excited to.
Is that on Max?
Yeah.
We just got rid of Max, so
Oh,
we
gotcha.
went through and kind of cut some of our. We've been meaning to do it for a while. We
Yeah.
were paying for way too many that we didn't watch, and Max
On
was one of them.
on top of cable, that stuff adds
Yep,
up.
yep, it
And
does.
unfortunately, I feel like that's how cable's even going to end up being.
Yep,
ESPN's probably going to have their own streaming,
yep.
um, Fox, CBS, all of it, and it's just going to add up, continue to add up.
Well, yeah, and I mean, well, Fox is about the only one that doesn't have the streaming network because CBS has Paramount,
Yeah,
NBC has Peacock,
that's true.
ABC kind of has it's Hulu and Disney Plus, kind
Yeah,
of,
yeah,
but yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So
I do like the Fox Sports app where you can watch live if you're like not home or something. That's nice.
that is the beauty of having YouTube TV like we do. Is if you're traveling, you can still get
Yeah,
on there and watch. The only thing that changes is your four major cable networks, but they
sure.
pick up where you are. So
Yeah.
it's all good. It's all good.
I have some Super Bowl Birdie Bogey for you.
Oh boy! Oh, Super Bowl. Okay, all right.
There have been 4 quarterbacks who have lost at
Always
least
quarterbacks. Always
I
quarterbacks.
know, who have lost at least 3 Super Bowls.
Okay.
Can you name those 4 quarterbacks? Got to get all for a birdie. I'll give you a par if you get 3 of them. Should be
Okay.
able to get 3 of them.
4 quarterbacks who have lost at least 3
At least
Super
3
Bowls.
Super Bowls.
Okay.
So, Birdie Bogey is brought to you by Arlington Public House. Arlington Public House is upscale cuisine and cocktails with a casual atmosphere. Located 703 Main Street in Rochester, Indiana. Like them on Facebook. And it's $2 whole smoked wings every Monday night and $1 off domestic brewskis. Also, what day is it? No, this was Saturday. February 3rd was Saturday. They had Ivory Moss at the Arlington Public House from 5:30 to 8:30. You can call their number at 574-223-7101 to make a reservation.
Yeah, they have her from time to time, a couple of times throughout the year.
Yeah.
So yeah, she's pretty talented. So
Yeah, she is.
yep. All right. So, well, your birdie or bogey was Super Bowl related. Let's just get right into it. Let's talk some NFL football. Of course, we don't have much to talk about as far as news that went on this week. A few things, a few coaching moves. We had the Pro Bowl that is not like the Pro Bowl that you and I watched growing up, which was still kind of a joke within itself. But, and I know you're going to be mad at me for saying this, I watched a little bit of the skills competition yesterday before the flag football game. Kind of enjoyed that.
What entailed the skills competition?
Well, the only 2 parts I saw was the closest to the pin par 3 shot, which was I don't know, and then the dodgeball. I like to see these athletes kind of partaking in something competitive, but not what they're paid to do, I guess,
Right.
and see if they're good or not. Like Kyle Hamilton has a heck of a golf swing for the Baltimore Ravens, but he couldn't be consistent. He hit one good shot, then he shank. Hit a good shot, then shank. Beautiful looking swing though. But there were some guys you could tell they spend their off season on the golf course, and some others that if they want to get better at golf, they probably should.
Yeah.
Raheem Mostert was in the par 3.
He was in the golf thing.
Yeah, yep. I did not see him hit though. So.
I did turn on ABC right as the flag football game was starting and watched one play. and it was Tyreek or Tua to Tyreek for 50-yard touchdown, and nobody was running except Tyreek, and I'm like, I can't do it. Just cannot do it.
Well, I don't know what they do because they don't want to get hurt.
Oh my!
I mean, it's like all these All-Star games. The guys don't want to get hurt. I don't know what the answer is, but they sold a lot of tickets. Orlando, that stadium was packed. So I don't know. I don't know what the answer is because I've seen some former NFL players ripping it on X, but it's like, I don't know.
We will never have another moment like Sean Taylor absolutely destroying. Was it Ryan Moorman? Was that his name?
I think you're right. Yeah, just
so,
crushed him.
Yeah,
just crushed him. But yeah, Super Bowl 58 coming up this Sunday, 6:30 on CBS. AFC champion and defending Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs against the NFC champion San Francisco 49ers. I have not checked the line in the last few days. I'm assuming San Francisco is still favored.
It opened San Francisco 2.5 or 3. Then it was down to 2 last time I saw, but that was a few days ago.
Okay.
I did find it funny that the Chiefs are using the Raiders facilities this week while the 49ers are using UNLV's facilities. So
you got to think there's a little difference there.
Yeah, significant downgrade for the Niners. Maybe the Niners suggested it. Maybe they didn't want to be too pampered this week. Workman's-like performance, so we'll see.
Yeah. So, which way are you leaning? I mean, I know your rooting interests. I think we're both on the same page there, rooting for San Francisco.
You are wrong.
I forgot your family ties. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think I'm rooting for the Kansas City Chiefs.
My gosh.
Yeah, I can't root for the Niners. I have a real hard time rooting for the Chiefs as well. So this is like,
I forgot about Billy. So
yeah, it's not as bad as the Bears Colts Super Bowl for me. That was miserable. That was a miserable time to be, 15 years old living in northern Indiana. That was the worst.
I think that was yesterday. It was.
Was it the anniversary?
Yeah, the anniversary was yesterday. Yeah,
17 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Brock Purdy can't turn the ball over. It's obvious statement. Both defenses are really good. I think Kansas City is a little better though.
They've been playing better as of late.
San Francisco is the first team ever to have 4 players with over 1,000 yards from scrimmage, as well as a 4,000-yard passer. And Brock Purdy, so that offense is explosive. It's really difficult to pick against Patrick Mahomes, though, especially with how good his defense is. San Francisco's been gashed on the ground the past 2 games, so I'm looking for maybe Isaiah Pacheco to have a good game in the Super Bowl. This will be the J-Man's Book It prediction.
Getting it out of the way early.
Week. I cannot pick against Patrick Mahomes. He has these distractions around. The Chiefs have these distractions around. With the Kelsey Swift and then Patrick Mahomes Sr. picking up his 3rd DWI. And he could be facing prison time, former Chicago Cub great Pat Mahomes Sr., I should say. But Patrick Jr., he's had distractions his entire career with his brother and his wife and playing on the team he's playing on now, and it hasn't mattered. So I am taking the Kansas City Chiefs 27-24. I think it'll be a highly, highly competitive football game. I will probably end up finding myself rooting for the 49ers. But as of right now, I think I'm not going to have a rooting interest, honestly. I just want to see a good game. So J-Man's Book and Prediction of the Week brought to you by Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance Agent Travis Watching for life. Home, auto, business, renters, workers' comp, and farm insurance. Contact Travis at 219-869-4561. His email is travis.watching@infb.com.
Who's your MVP?
Man. I'm going to go out on a limb and say Rashee Rice.
Wow. Okay.
He's been dynamite in the playoffs, killed the Dolphins in the first round. Has been good since. Mahomes has won a lot. It'll probably be the quarterback because it usually is, but maybe Rice catches a few touchdowns and wins it.
if the Chiefs do have to win, which I'm hoping they don't, and they won't, but if they do have to win, I hope George Karlaftis is MVP. But he would have to have a Von Miller-like performance from Super Bowl 50 to make that happen.
He's been playing some dang good football.
He's a pretty good
And
football player.
yeah, he and Chris Jones there have been
Mhm,
a dynamic duo. So
mhm.
I could see it.
Well, I will go on the opposite side of you. I will take the Niners 20-17. So I think we kind of get a lower scoring game
Could
than
see it.
maybe a lot of the experts are predicting. And I'm taking Christian McCaffrey
It's a
as the
good
MVP.
pick. That's a real good pick. Man, Niners have a ton of weapons. Obviously, they have the most weapons in football with Debo and Ayuk and Kittle and McCaffrey and
Good line.
good offensive line and good defense. They are the most complete team in the NFL. I
They've
think we can agree on that. But
Yep. John Lynch has done a good job building that team.
he has, which is crazy to even think about considering how bad of a trade it was trading up to take Trey Lance, where he gave up
Mhm,
couple first round picks, and it hasn't mattered because he's hit
mm-mm.
on guys like Fred Warner in the third round and that Samoan defensive back, his name I can't remember, in the fifth round. And he's obviously hit on some first rounders and Nick Bosa and guys like that. And then he hits on a Brock Purdy in the seventh round. So he's had some luck
Yeah.
involved. But
Not only seventh round, Mr. Irrelevant,
Mr. Irrelevant, yeah. And
which is
then obviously
crazy.
trading for Christian McCaffrey, who felt like he might never be the guy we thought he was going to be because of injury issues and stuff. Come to San Francisco, stayed healthy. He said on Debo in the second round. Ayuk's a late first rounder. Kittle, third round. I don't know if he was a Kittle draft pick or if Kittle was a Lynch draft pick. But
Yeah, I think he
anyway,
was. I think he
was he?
was. Yeah.
He's done a really good job to make people forget about that Trey Lance trade by obviously a great scouting. Has a good scouting team around, great coaching staff too. I mean, they're
Yep.
going to continue to put out head coaches. So,
Yep.
yeah, Lynch has done an unbelievable job.
Yeah, it just almost feels like it's their time to get this one.
Yeah,
They've been close, in pro sports, especially in sports in general, but pro sports especially. Your windows are usually pretty small. You got 4 or 5 year gap at the most. San Francisco, I would say, is on the end of that, but they're not. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, the last time they made Super Bowl was 2020. That was 4 years ago. But
it definitely helps them going forward that their quarterback is so cheap for the next few
100%,
years
100%,
that they can continue to keep this team around him. So,
Yep, yep. So looking forward to it. Even I mean, what? Okay, I got a question for you. I know you said Colts Bears was the toughest for your fandom, but what was the most boring Super Bowl in your opinion?
um, the first one that comes to mind is that Broncos Panthers one.
I enjoyed that, but I get it.
I know
There was not a lot of offensive action,
you
so
very much enjoyed that.
I did enjoy 48 though, 43-8. That was pretty rough. Super Bowl 48.
That was bad. Maybe my least enjoyable Super Bowl I've watched so far was that Patriots comeback, which
Oh
was
yeah,
just
Falcons.
against the Falcons, which was just
At least it was exciting though. It had
it.
some big
It was
plays. The one that always
personally, it was rough for me.
The one that always comes to my mind, I don't remember what I get my Super Bowl numbers mixed up, but it was Packers Steelers
Yeah,
in 2011.
that was pretty
Aaron
forgettable.
Rodgers lone Super Bowl. That was pretty
Yeah.
boring one, I felt like.
As far as like the best Super Bowls since, I think you got to think Seahawks Patriots probably number one.
Just run the ball.
Um,
Eat.
yeah, Cardinals Steelers I think is way up there.
That was a fun one
That was a
too.
great one. Other than that, though,
Patriots Rams for the Patriots first Super Bowl.
that was a good one.
That was
Yeah.
fun.
Patriots were 14-point underdogs in that one I saw earlier in the week. The first Chiefs Niners Super Bowl back in 2020 was good. Remember the Niners were up 10 with like 6 minutes left, and Damian Williams for the Chiefs, former Dolphin, had an unbelievable 6 minutes and they won the game.
Another boring one was the Rams
Oh,
Patriots,
that
the most recent one they played on.
yeah, that was probably the most boring. What was it, 13-3?
Yeah, it was
That
brutal.
was by far the most boring and
Yeah.
clearly forgettable because I didn't even think about it.
That was brutal.
So yeah, that was significantly worse than Broncos Panthers. in my
Yeah.
opinion.
Yeah. Yeah. But where I was going at is, it's one of those things, no matter who's playing, I'm always gonna sit down and watch the
Oh yeah,
game and
oh yeah,
enjoy some very unhealthy but tasty food and
absolutely.
have a good time.
What's your go-to like Super Bowl appetizer sort of deal?
Oh, it's gotta be buffalo chicken dip.
Yeah, that's a pretty common go-to. Um,
Started with, I think first time I had it was Saints Colts Super Bowl at your parents' house.
yeah, I think that was the first time my mom ever made it, and
Ever since that, man,
yeah,
it's
we got hooked. My mom also.
acid reflex. I can feel it right now
Oh
just thinking
man,
about it.
yeah, that that always gets me. My mom always makes a nacho dip that I might have to make this year for him, but love cocktail weenies,
Yep.
meatballs, pizza,
Chicken wings of any kind. I
of
like, yeah,
course, chicken
pizza.
wings,
Oh man.
sliders.
Yep. Can't go
Oh,
wrong with any of that stuff.
I'm pretty excited, and I'm gonna be watching it by myself. So
No celery and hummus for you.
there is not going to be a single green thing in this house on Sunday, unless my wife forces. She won't force me
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
put anything green out there, but
I love it. I love it. But no, it's looking forward to it. Looking forward to it. I kind of hit on some coaching news. Probably the biggest piece of coaching news this week was Cliff Kingsbury.
yeah,
Looked like he was going to be the Las Vegas Raiders' next offensive coordinator. Then that fell through, and he is now the Washington Commanders' offensive coordinator with their brand new head coach, Dan Quinn.
yeah. That's interesting. When Dan Quinn was hired by the Atlanta Falcons, his first offensive coordinator he hired was Kyle Shanahan.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe similar
Sure.
stuff there going on. Younger guy obviously knows offense really well. He failed as a head coach. Kingsbury did in Arizona and Texas Tech for that matter. But obviously, a really good offensive mind, and they're going to need it. I saw Bieniemy's not going to be back, obviously,
Right.
with the news that Kingsbury's there. But definitely an interesting hire. And he was Caleb Williams' offensive coordinator
Mm-hmm.
at USC, so you can kind of connect the dots there to see. Are they picking two? Is that
There
what
too. So,
so they're either gonna have to trade up to number one or hope the Bears don't take Caleb Williams.
yep.
So they're in a precarious spot, but
Yeah, I'm still fascinated by what the Bears are going to do. I talked with a big Bear fan over the weekend on Saturday and asked him what he want if he was in control. What would he do? He said keep Fields, trade back, get more picks. So
that's
we could get us some weapons around him, even more weapons around him, and improve our offensive line.
that seems to be what a majority of Bears fans want as well.
Mm,
Um, so I know they really want Justin Fields to work out,
sure.
and he did play some pretty good football, and now new offensive coordinator coming in from Seattle, Shane Waldron, I believe his name is. Their old offensive coordinator was then hired by the Vegas Raiders, Luke Getsy, after he
Yeah.
failed miserably in Chicago. So it'll
Yeah.
be interesting to see how that works out in Vegas. But yeah. So what other coaching news did I see? Steve Belichick. Did you see this piece of
Mm.
news? Bill's son is the new defensive coordinator for the University of Washington Huskies.
It's coming in the Big Ten.
Yeah, he is. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, old Stevie. And then I also saw that Jim Harbaugh's son, Jay, is it his son or is it John's son? Jay. I think his name's Jay. He was special teams coordinator at Michigan. Everyone thought he'd follow his dad, so it would be his dad is Jim to LA, but he's actually going to be the new special teams coach out in Seattle.
Oh,
So he's
interesting.
going somewhere else,
Yeah, prove himself
branching
a
out.
little bit, away from his dad.
Yep.
And who did the Chargers hire as their OC? It was uh I just saw it. Oh, it's the Ravens OC.
Oh, Greg Roman.
Yes, Roman's
Yeah,
going out there. Mhm.
former Ravens
Yep.
OC.
Yep.
The Ravens fans hated him. He tried to turn Lamar into a running back only, and they ran the ball, 60 times a game.
Right.
But yes, Greg Roman, which I want to say there's definite. Well, obviously there's Harbaugh ties with him playing for or coaching for
Yep.
John. But it seems like there's Jim ties as well. So
Probably is, but it's NFL never sleeps. We talk about it all the time because right after this game,
Yeah.
and my mind's already there as a fan of a team that hadn't made the playoffs in 8 years. I'm thinking draft already. So,
Yeah. Combine will be here in about 3 weeks, and the new league year will open up in
yep.
about a month.
Senior Bowls went
Uh,
on, and
yeah.
the other All Star games have been going on. So, rumors are flying everywhere.
Yep.
So,
It definitely never stops. Even in June, it seems like something always pops up. So
yep. Yep. I was even reading this thing the other day on ESPN. They're making different predictions on where different guys were going to go and stuff. They predict that Russell Wilson will be the starting quarterback for the Atlanta Falcons.
yeah, could
And they're
definitely see
predicting
it.
like a 2-year, $36 million deal or something like that.
Yeah.
Not nothing near what he got from
No,
Denver.
I could definitely see that. That
Yeah.
makes sense. And I think honestly, you put Russell Wilson on that Falcons team last year, and they win the South easily.
Yep. You're right.
Um.
You're right.
So yeah,
You're right.
see
You're right.
that. You want to be educated here, real quick, before we go any
Yes.
further.
Yes, I do.
On this day in 1921, the New York Yankees purchased 20 acres in the Bronx for Yankee Stadium.
And since then, that thing's been demolished and a new one opened up in 2009.
Yeah.
They won the World Series in their first year it was built.
On this day in 1924, the first Winter Olympic Games closed. Can you tell me where that was held?
Can I have a clue if it was in the U.S. or not?
It was not in the U.S.
Switzerland.
Pretty good guess. Chamonix, France.
Hmm.
On this day in, man, not a whole lot. Oh, man, a lot of Winter Olympics.
Yeah.
1956, the seventh Winter Olympic Games closed. Can you tell me where it was held?
Once again, can I have a clue if it was
Not,
in the U.S. or not?
not in the U.S. It is in Europe, though.
Let's go Russia.
Russia's its own continent.
I thought about that right after I said that, but
Cortina d'Ampezzo, Italy.
I could have guessed 486 different places, and I wouldn't have guessed
All you would
that.
have
So,
to do is guess Italy. That's
yeah,
in Europe. Russia is definitely not in Europe.
yeah.
And
And I'm using pretty good geography. I'm kind of embarrassed
geography
right now.
teacher in high school should retire.
I was pretty good at geography too.
Should put in his resignation.
The wife's lack of geography is wearing off on me.
my wife's lack of geography is pretty porous as well. No offense.
You know what's fun, and it's she doesn't listen. I don't care. You should do this with your wife. Test her with state capitals sometimes. See how many she can get right.
Oh man, if I had to guess, it'd be less than 7.
Oh, come on.
Maybe 10. Maybe 10. Again,
I bet she could get about 30 of them.
yeah,
30 or 50.
my wife doesn't listen either, so
Yeah.
I think we're pretty safe.
Yeah.
On this day in 1969, Vince Lombardi became part owner, vice president, general manager, and head coach of the NFL's Washington then Redskins.
One of the best to ever do it. I mean, the Lombardi Trophy, named after the guy.
On this day in 1978, the 28th NBA All-Star Game was held. Who won MVP?
78?
Yep.
78. How about Jerry West?
Incorrect. Randy Smith, San Diego Clippers.
Never heard of Randy
I know.
Smith.
I know. On this day in 1978, Fred Newman made 88 consecutive basketball free throws blindfolded.
I couldn't make half of that without being blindfolded.
On this day in 1989, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar became the first NBA player to score 38,000 points.
One of the best to ever do it. Skyhook.
On this day in 1995, the NFL Pro Bowl was held in Aloha Stadium. The AFC beat the NFC 41-13. Who won MVP?
Let's go with random defensive player, Junior Seau.
Nope. Marshall Faulk.
Oh.
Yeah.
He would have been a Colt at the time.
Yeah.
He'd been a young Colt at the time.
Who won the Super Bowl on this day in 2006?
2006. So, okay, I got to do my math here. So, 07 was Colts Bears. So, 06 would have been the Steelers over the Seahawks.
Yep. Do you remember who won MVP?
I want to say Jerome Bettis because that was his last game, but I think it was Antoine Randall.
It was not. It was Hines
Oh,
Ward.
shoot.
Pretty
I
good.
thought Randall returned a kick or something that game.
He threw a touchdown to Hines Ward.
Okay.
Yeah, like a double reverse.
That was another Super Bowl I didn't enjoy. I just don't enjoy when Steelers are in Super Bowl. Sorry, except the Cardinals one. That was fun.
Yeah. Whoops. I keep messing with my mic. On this day in 2012, who won the Super Bowl?
2012. So the game was played in 12. So that would have been the Giants over the Patriots.
MVP?
MVP was Eli was one of them, so I'm going with Eli.
It is Eli.
Yeah, that was in Lucas Oil in Indianapolis. That one.
2017, who won the Super Bowl?
Okay, all right, 2017. So Broncos 17. So Super Bowl 51. Was that the Patriots over the Falcons?
It was the comeback.
Yeah.
Tom Brady won MVP, as you could probably have guessed.
Yep.
And last one here, it was the first year, 2023 was the first year of the new Pro Bowl games, the new format, skills competition, and by 3 times non-contact 7-on-7 flag football games. I don't know what that means, rather than actual tackle football. So yeah, the new format was rolled out, and we'll see if they can continue to try to make it better than it is.
Yeah, I don't know what the ratings are going to look like, but
they're probably pretty good. Let's be honest.
They didn't have a lot of competition yesterday.
Yeah. No, they definitely did not.
No.
The fact that I even turned it on for like 4 minutes tells you there was nothing else on.
And that's going to do it for this week's On This Day segment, which is brought to you by Mooney Woodcrafts. Mooney Woodcrafts is a veteran-owned and operated woodcraft shop based out of Texas with Indiana grassroots. They provide 100% hand-cut custom designs that fit your needs, and their pieces are a great addition to any home, office, or man cave. You can see some of the recently completed projects by visiting them at Mooney Woodcrafts on Instagram and on Facebook. And if you let them know the Tan and J-Man Show sent you, you get 15% off your first sign order. So get those sign orders in. Probably a little late to get your significant other a sign for Valentine's Day. But there's always other holidays coming up, and it's a good time anytime around the year to get your significant other, family member, friend, sports fan in your life a nice wooden sign. So Thad does great work. Get a hold of him. Tell him the Tan Jamin Show sent you. 15% off. All right. Well, the pick six. I think I got a fun little pick six picked out this week for you. There's no really, my dad helped me with this, so I can't take all the credit. So there's no really tie between, like, they're not all basketball players or football players or anything like that. Just a mix of 6 individuals who have been in the news and around the sporting world this past week. We'll start with Joel Embiid.
Joel Embiid. He scored a lot of points a few weeks ago and then decided to sit a bunch of games out when it mattered most, which is typical of Joel Embiid.
You a fan of him?
No, can't stand him. I didn't like him at Kansas.
Yeah.
So it's the hate has run very deep for whatever reason. There's just something about him I do not like.
There's something about the Sixers I don't like.
Something about that city of Philadelphia. No, I think he's good. I'll give him that. But again, I said this last week. They have, as of last week, played 30 some games, or not more than 30 games, but if they played 33 games against teams over 500, and Embiid's only played in 3 of them.
Yeah,
that's the accurate stat. It's probably an inaccurate stat, but it was something porous like that. And I don't think he's going to hit the threshold to win MVP again, the game's threshold, which is okay because I don't think he deserves it anyway.
You went to an NBA game over the weekend, the Bulls Kings. How was that?
About fell asleep in the second quarter. Low energy. Bulls found themselves down 30 points with about 6 minutes left in the third quarter. And I was thinking, we're going to leave at the end of the third quarter, and that's okay with me. Stuck around to the end of the third quarter. Bulls cut it down to 10, and then they cut it down to 3 with 35 seconds left. Then they couldn't get a stop when it mattered most. But energy definitely ramped up in the fourth quarter, and I actually ended up having a pretty good time. But it was pretty boring
Good.
there for a while. But mainly went to see Io Desumu, and he poured in 18, so it was a pretty
There you
good
go.
game for him. But De'Aaron Fox poured in 41, so he was a little better.
Yeah. Yeah. The Kings are pretty good this year. So.
Yeah, a lot of Jordan jerseys, as you can imagine. I did see a older gentleman, 70, had to be in the 70s, decked out in Kings attire. It was pretty cool. He
That's
had like
cool.
an old school Kings starter jacket on, a old school Kings hat. It was pretty cool.
That's cool. That's cool. I was hoping you were going to be like, I saw somebody wearing a Luke Longley jersey.
Nope. There were some obviously a bunch of D Rose still. Saw one Kirk Heinrich. But the first 10,000 got a cheap Nikola Vucevic jersey, so a lot of people were wearing that. So it was covering their actual.
So I was gonna say, I wonder who of the present players sells the most, but it could be him, I guess.
So I mean, I saw a lot of Levine and Levine, whatever his name
He's
is.
out pretty much for the season. So
He is 4 to 6 months, yeah.
Yeah.
And DeMar DeRozan. So
Oh, yeah, makes sense. Yep. Well, let's stick with the NBA for the next one. Doc Rivers.
He is with the Milwaukee Bucks now after they stupidly fired their coach.
Second place in the East, and
Alan Griffin's father, who you have very good memories of stomping. I have very good memories of stomping on Sasha Stefanovic in Purdue. But I think his days are numbered already. I think they're 1-3 with him. I think they blew a large lead in the fourth quarter. I think they're up 15 in the fourth quarter against the terrible Utah Jazz team they lost last night. So I think his days are already starting to get a little thin there in Milwaukee.
Has any other coach in NBA history done less with more talent than Doc Rivers?
No. His teams have been loaded, absolutely loaded.
Yep. Chris Collins.
Oh man, he's a good basketball coach. I'll give it to him. His team put up one hell of a fight at Mackey Arena. Played literally the best they could possibly play and still lost, which is kind of funny. And then, of course, he went after the officials, which was hilarious and probably warranted. I mean, I watched the entire game, and it definitely played out like it should have been 46 free throws to whatever Northwestern shot.
Because they don't drive the ball.
They don't. So it definitely played out that way. And the only reason why they're in the game is because Purdue missed 17 free throws.
Yeah, you're right.
But I mean, sure, why not? You're going to lose the game anyway. You're mad at the foul discrepancy, whatever. Even if it did play out that way, go off. And then it was pretty funny to see him. I'm good. He went over, shook Painter's hand, and gave Edie a hug.
Up the players,
pumped the crowd up as he's on his way out. So that was a legendary. That was maybe the most legendary ejection we've seen, and we've seen some good ones from Fran and Matt Painter once. I remember that one in Champaign. But then he was pretty cool after the game. I know a guy fumbled over a question in the post-game press conference. And he was really nice of the guy.
Yeah,
but
he only got a $5,000 fine from the Big Ten.
Yeah, not bad. And honestly, if you're going to go after a ref, Courtney Green's probably a good one.
I would agree with that.
Him or Carsonson would be my two on the chopping block. But it ended up being a bad week for him. After losing to Minnesota on Saturday.
Le'Veon Bell.
He was in the news.
He came out today and he wants to come back to the NFL, but he said he will only play for one team, and we all know who that team is. And then he didn't say who it was.
No one knows who the team is. Then he wanted to play for the Steelers, and then he wanted to play for the Jets. And who is that one team? Kansas City.
I honestly don't know. I figured he was talking about either Pittsburgh or New York. So
I can't imagine, because they kind of, in his mind, they screwed him over.
Yeah. I don't know. I think he's washed. I think absolutely. I love when NFL players take a year or two off and think they can come right back in the league.
Yeah. He's taken more than just a year or two off, hasn't he?
You're right. I think 3 or 4.
And honestly, he was terrible with the Jets, and he wasn't that good towards the end of his Steeler career. He's 30. I think he's our age. I think he's 32 years old.
And wasn't he on the Chiefs too?
Was he on the Chiefs? Okay.
I think
I don't even
towards
remember.
at the very end, and he wasn't doing much. Or maybe I'm getting confused with somebody else.
I think you're correct. That sounds right. That sounds
Well,
right. I wonder who the one team he wants to play for then.
I don't know. I didn't really. I just saw the headline. I didn't read the
You,
article.
you all know, but no one actually knows.
No.
Yeah, Le'Veon was an interesting one. Good running back for about 2 years, and thought he was a whole lot better than he actually was.
Good at Michigan State. That's for sure. That's for sure. Two more here. Cliff Kingsbury.
Yeah, Washington's new OC. I'll never forget draft. What was it? Him on during the NFL draft in 2020, where he had that like wide open concept that looked out towards the mountains, and it kind of looked like a Bond villain house or something. Interesting guy. It looked like he wanted to take some time away from football, and then they pulled him back in last year. Lincoln Riley did. And,
as a quarterback coach.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if they end up with Caleb Williams or they're going to roll with Sam Howell. I guess they could take a Drake May or Jaden Daniels or whoever. Yeah. Somebody's going to skyrocket up there and get taken number 2 overall regardless. We just don't know who it is yet.
Yeah, Thad Mooney, thank you for sending me this. So Le'Veon Bell played for Pittsburgh, then the Jets, then the Chiefs. Then in 2021, he was on the Ravens and the Buccaneers.
I forgot he was on the Ravens. So he's been out 2+ years now. So
yep, 42 career touchdowns, 96 games.
Huh.
And lastly, Bobby Witt Jr.
Oh man, did he get paid today? 11 years, $289 million. Had a fantastic year last year as a 22, 23-year-old. Definitely a guy you want to build around, but it does sting a little bit to watch the Kansas City Royals give their guys a ton of money while the Cubs sit there and wait for Boris to budge, and Scott Boris is not going to budge. So get off your butt, Jed. The division's winnable. Absolutely. If I had to handicap right now, I still think the Cubs probably win it, even though I picked them to finish last because I was angry in our bold predictions. The Cubs do have the best odds to win the division because the Brewers are trading away Corbin Burns, no longer Brandon Woodruff. Reds are probably still a little too green, although they're probably the most talented team in the division. The Cardinals pitching staff has to roll out of the retirement home just to be able to head to the mound. The Pirates are the Pirates. So it's a very winnable division. You can't just sit there and do nothing, though. You got to go out there and get it done.
Yeah, the MLB has been really quiet.
Yeah, it's been the Shohei signing early kind of hurt things a little bit.
Yeah.
And then Scott Boras doing what Scott Boras does. He controls free agency, and they need to do something to knock him off his high horse because he's getting old, getting real old. So.
And that'll do it for this week's Pick 6 segment, which is brought to you by Proforma Print 2 Promo Group. If you're looking for a trustworthy, dependable resource for your next trade show, company picnic, or a sales meeting in 2024, Proforma Print 2 Promo Group has over 50 years combined experience in promotional products and commercial print. They strive for fast and efficient response to all your print needs, so you need to look no further. Let them be your one-source print and promotional company today by giving Barbara Van Weinsberg a call at 574-210-3815. All right, let's talk some college hoops.
Sir.
Like I said, we are in February. March is right around the corner. Conference races are definitely starting to heat up in some instances. Some others, teams are starting to pull away. In the Big Ten, we've been talking about all year, it's kind of 3 teams at the top tier, and it's definitely that. You got Purdue, Illinois, Wisconsin, the 3. And then the next 3 are probably fighting to make sure they make the tournament, wouldn't you say, in Michigan State, Northwestern, Nebraska?
Absolutely.
And then after that, it falls off to where I don't see anybody else, unless somebody gets hot, getting close to making the tournament.
I was thinking of the tiers today, actually, and I was thinking Purdue, Tier 1, Illinois, Wisconsin, Tier 2. And then, of course, he said Nebraska, Michigan State, Northwestern, Tier 3. Then after that, would it be like Minnesota, Ohio State, Indiana, Maryland?
I'd almost start putting Penn State up there, the way they're playing lately.
Yeah, Penn's without their best player, too, Kanye Clary.
We know Michigan's on a tier by themselves at the bottom.
Yeah, Michigan definitely after blowing a 15-point lead the second half of Rutgers.
At home.
Rutgers is dead last in the Big Ten in the net rankings.
Yeah.
For the time being. But Yeah. Michigan is horrendous. I think Jawan's gone. He
I do
had
too.
did you see his quotes today? He
No.
said, "My stuff works." I mean, you look at it. 2020 was COVID year. We were going to make the tournament. 2021 Elite Eight. 2022 Sweet 16. It's clear. It's clearly work. We just had to get healthy. And I'm thinking so. By your measure, you kept going down each year. You went from the Elite Eight to the Sweet 16 to the NIT, and now you're not going to win 10 games. So it's clearly not working there, Jawan.
Yeah. I
It's
hope they keep him around for another year because it
I do
sounds
too.
good news for everybody else.
Yeah, because I mean, we saw Beeline take Michigan to absurd
Yes.
heights,
Yep.
and he took over for Tommy Amaker, who had them at absurd lows in mediocrity. And then we saw how much of a sleeping giant Michigan was, and we do not want them
Yes.
to be woken up again.
No.
Um,
They have
and
enough
it,
fun of football season. I
yeah,
mean,
leave. Yeah, let. I'm okay with them having good football as long as the basketball team's not good. But I think Jawan's time is coming to an end there.
yes. I think Chris Holtman's in trouble in Columbus too.
1,000%. Losers 7 of 8. Um, he went 15-3 in Big Ten play his first year. He is 51-58 since. Lost on the road to Iowa. Tough place to play in Iowa, but they had a chance to get it done. They couldn't. They were in it for a half against Illinois. Then Illinois just absolutely took it to them in the second half and ended up blowing them out. At that Illinois Ohio State game Tuesday night last week, it felt like a COVID era game because it was so quiet in there and I mean, that stadium holds 20,000, that
Yeah, it's
arena.
a pro arena,
And
really.
there was maybe 4,500 or 5,000 people in
It's yeah.
there for that game. It was so quiet. It almost brought back terrible memories of 2020, 2021 with no fans. But Illinois took it to them, which was nice to see on my end. But yeah, I think unless they get hot, which they've proven they can't. I mean, they looked halfway decent early in the year, but again,
Yeah.
losers of 7 of 8, including losing to Michigan, that's their only win here this year, I think, is to Ohio State against Ohio State. So again, another job we saw. They weren't very good. Then Thad Matta took over, turned them into a powerhouse. We don't want that to happen again. So I would prefer Holtman stick around, but I think he's gone.
One more that I think this guy's good for one more year, but his seat's definitely starting to heat up. That's Mike Woodson down in Bloomington. Horrendous loss at home to Penn
Terrible.
State. A game they were up double digits at one time and ended up losing by 15 points.
Against a Penn State team that didn't have their best guard, and yet Penn State's guards absolutely took it to Indiana's because Indiana's guard play is, in my opinion, the worst in the Big Ten. I think it's worse than Rutgers. I think it's worse than Michigan's. Their guard play is horrendous, and you win in college basketball with good guards. That is how you win. I mean, you look at Purdue, Braden Smith, Fletcher Lawyer, Wisconsin.
Lance
Yeah,
Jones.
in Lance
He's
Jones.
kind of a combo guard.
I got to throw him in there for you. And Wisconsin, Hepburn, and I'll throw Storr in there. Klesmet.
Yeah.
Illinois, you have Domash, Shannon, Rogers, Tyson Walker, and AJ Hogard, Michigan State, Tominaga, everything. He is the best bad shot maker I've ever seen.
He was bad, like
Unbelievable.
bad against Wisconsin.
Terrible against Wisconsin. And you knew he was going to
Yeah.
come out hot. And I thought Illinois did a pretty good job on him last night, too. And he went off.
He goes NBA Jam at times.
Yes. Northwestern, Boo Booey, Ty Berry.
Yep.
So you win with good guards. Indiana has putrid guards. I mean,
That's Mike's fault in the portal. He tried. He couldn't get any of them.
It's his fault in the portal. It's his fault in high school recruiting. I think he's relied on Xavier Johnson, which we know what Xavier Johnson is, and that's a guy who's going to get more technicals than he does points in some seasons. It seems like. But I don't know. Depending on how this season ends, they might cut him loose. I just Saturday
don't know how much
felt like a nail in the coffin for him.
I just don't know how much more donor money because they just bought out Tom Allen. You can't keep going to Mark Cuban every 3 or 4 years and ask him to buy your coach out because that's what they've been doing.
Yeah.
I mean, they lead the Big Ten in coaches since 2000. So they just got to do it again. This might just, everybody's going to be like, yo, this is just coming from a Purdue fan, but I think it's a culture problem down there in Bloomington. I don't think it's just a head coaching problem.
Yeah.
And I'll say this, and I'm even going to throw something about Purdue in there. So Stay patient, Indiana fans. I don't know in the year of 2024 how many good high school basketball players want to go play in Bloomington, Indiana. And I can hear them saying right now, well, how about West Lafayette? Because although I love West Lafayette, a lot of people don't like it. I definitely get it. But I'm going to counter that and say it's Purdue's winning basketball culture overrides what West Lafayette can deliver, which right now in Bloomington, that's not happening.
The thing is, though, Painter's winning with these. I mean, Braden Smith was an unranked 3-star.
Yeah.
Edie unranked 3-star, wasn't he?
Yes. Yes.
So he's developing these players where
Yes.
Woodson, I mean, he has 5-star coming in next year, and Liam McNeely, I think his name is. Mbako was or whatever his name is,
Yes.
5-star guy. Then
who landed in their lap because Duke decided they didn't want him anymore.
Yeah. Khalil Ware, I mean, I know they got him in the transfer portal, but he's a 5-star guy. So they are getting the talent.
They always have.
Just Woodson has not been able to cultivate a winning roster. Besides last year they were pretty good with Trace Jackson Davis, not his recruit, and then who was the guard? What was his name? Why is it escaping me?
Hood Schifino.
Jalen Hood Schifino. You have 2 NBA players, that makes it a whole lot better. But he's playing this traditional style where you got a point guard, you got a 2, you got a 3, you got a 4, you got a 5, and basketball's turning into this positionless sort of basketball. I know some teams have traditional 5s like Purdue does, and it's obviously working for them. But you see the other good teams, you don't have that traditional point guard, you don't have a traditional 4, you don't have traditional 5, and those are the teams that are starting to win more and more. And I think the game has passed Woodson by, and I thought the hire of Mike Woodson was terrible to begin with. I thought they could have done a whole lot better, but maybe they couldn't have done a whole lot better because it's been so long since they've been this giant. I mean, they haven't won a title in 35 plus years. These kids have never seen them be good. The guys coming into college now, I've never seen them play in a Final Four or even in Elite 8.
Yeah, they weren't born in 02.
Yeah, none of the high school guys. So the shine of Indiana has worn off, especially in the state, I think, for high school kids. They are getting these out-of-state guys because of the aura around Indiana. But, I think time is starting to get a little shorter there for Mike Woodson. I know the fan base is really restless.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens there, but I think their season's pretty much done. And I mean, that's the thing about the portal. You can turn things around quickly, but you better hit on the guys. You better hit on the right guys.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, look at Wisconsin. AJ Storr, 16 points a game.
Yeah.
Illinois' class this year has been fantastic with Domas, 16 points a game. Gary Ayers has 9 double-doubles. Justin Harmon off the bench has been fantastic. That's how teams are winning nowadays. They aren't even recruiting high school guys as much. They're just waiting for the portal to open up.
Except if you're Purdue. They take about one portal guy a year, but they got the right one this year, Lance Jones, too. I thought he'd be solid. I thought he'd be a defender, add a few buckets here. That never would imagine he'd turn to the score he has.
He's better at Purdue than he was at Southern Illinois.
Yeah. Southern Illinois should have been really good last year.
Yeah, I mean, Domask, who's creeping up to being a potential first teamer all Big Ten, which is crazy. And then Jones, and then they have a guy averaging 24 points a game this year that was there last year. So
there was a lot of talent in Carbondale last year. So
just couldn't get him done.
Domask, he's kind of becoming Illinois' go-to guy. I mean, late in the game, they have the ball in his hands, not Terrence Shannon's hand.
Yeah, Shannon tends to force stuff, where Domask has that real crafty game, mid-range, gets to the free throw line. He's the best foul shooter in Illinois history, although he missed 1 or 2 that would have won him the game in regulation last night. He's 89% from the line, which is 2% higher than the next closest guy for a single season, which was Alfonso Plummer. But yeah, he is their guy. I mean, great passer too in that kind of post area as well. He's averaged 5 assists a game since Shannon was originally suspended. So he is the guy I want making plays because he's smart, makes the right play, makes the right pass. And I am 1,000% okay with him being the go-to guy.
Yep. So, interesting week around the Big Ten. Like you mentioned, it was a good week for Purdue. They went 2-0, hard-fought home overtime win over Northwestern, which we talked about kind of in length when during the pick 6 when we talked about Chris Collins. But Northwestern shot lights out. Boo Booey, Barry, they were hitting everything they wanted. And Purdue was lucky they were getting to the free throw line a bunch, even though they missed a ton of free throws. But they were able to survive. And then they went up to the Kohl Center yesterday for a nationally televised CBS game against Wisconsin, and really had control for most of the game. They were up 2.5. Wisconsin cut it down to 3, if not 2, a couple different times in the second half, but Purdue never let the lead slip. It got kind of hairy there at the end with some turnovers and some press break issues, but they went to the Kohl Center and got it done, and Wisconsin did not shoot well from behind the arc. And anytime you go into a road venue right now in college basketball and get it done, you're pretty pleased, because I've never seen a year, not even just in the Big Ten, outside of the Big Ten, where ranked teams are struggling on the road like this. And I haven't seen a year where we've seen so many overtime games as we have this year. So it's interesting, but good week for the Boilers. Glad they have this week to rest before they gear up for their second matchup against Indiana at home on Saturday night. So
yeah. Elsewhere around the Big Ten, Northwestern ended up losing twice, losing at Minnesota. It was a game of runs. They found themselves up 8 fairly late. Minnesota just kept chipping away and tying it and then taking control in overtime. So big win for Ben Johnson as far as potential NIT hopes for them, which would be huge for that program after where they were. But Northwestern was seemingly a lock for the NCAA tournament, and I still think they are fairly safe. But a huge matchup this week at home against Nebraska. Nebraska's 6-0 at home in Big Ten play, 0-6 on the road. Northwestern, it'll be interesting to see if that crowd gets up for, although a good Nebraska team, Nebraska, they get up for Purdue and Illinois and Michigan
top
State,
10 teams.
Wisconsin. But it'll be interesting to see if fans show up in a pretty big game for both teams, because Nebraska needs to prove they can win on the road, and Northwestern they can't afford to lose 3 in a row, or they're going to start feeling a little nervous heading forward.
Well, and earlier we were talking about tiers. There's 4 teams that are going to get that double bye for the Big Ten tournament in Minneapolis. And you got to think Purdue, Wisconsin, and Illinois has got those wrapped up. So who's going to be the 4th team? If you had to guess today on February 5th, would it be Northwestern, Nebraska, or Michigan State?
I would think Michigan State. They're playing some good, I almost said football, good basketball. They have won 5 of their last 6. Including twice against Maryland. They have a big home game on Saturday against Illinois, which Illinois won, I think, 2 of their last 3 or 3 of their last 4 in Michigan State, something like that.
I think Michigan State's got to go to the barn before that this week.
They do. They also, so huge week for Michigan State. If they can go 2-0, I think they'd feel pretty good about getting that 4 seed. But as of right now, I just probably say Michigan State by default, just because I don't trust Northwestern as much, or definitely not Nebraska. I think Nebraska can really score the basketball. Rink Mast killed Illinois last night, and they're definitely much, much improved. But that was a game Illinois was up 10 with 3 minutes left, and they should have pulled away, and they just made some stupid plays and let Nebraska back in. So it wasn't just like Nebraska played so well, they went on the road to top 10 team and took them to overtime, which is what they did. But it was mainly Illinois faltering more than Nebraska playing well, in my opinion.
Yep. I want to go over and pick some games.
Let's do it. I have it pulled up here, unless you want to do it.
Okay. I'll let you have it.
All right. Rutgers at Maryland. Maryland needs this one if they have any hope.
Yeah, I'll take the Terps at home.
Yeah, I think Rutgers is very clearly the second worst team in the Big Ten at the moment. So give me Maryland. Indiana at Ohio State. Both teams need to stop the skid. Although Indiana did beat Iowa over the week.
They did. I'm going to take Ohio State at home, but I'm not confident in either of these teams.
Yeah, I'm going to take Ohio State. Ohio State's definitely due to win one, and I think they get it done. Michigan State at Minnesota. Huge one here for both teams.
I think Sparty gets it done in a very close game.
I agree. Michigan State 14-8, Minnesota 14-7. If Minnesota beats them, though, they jump Michigan State in the standings, believe it or not.
Wow.
As Michigan State would fall to 6-6, and Minnesota would be 6-5. But give me Michigan State. Wednesday night we have Wisconsin at Michigan.
Wisconsin.
Yeah, give me Wisconsin. Michigan's terrible. Nebraska at Northwestern.
I'm going to take Northwestern, and because they're the home team.
Yeah. As I said, Nebraska has not won a Big Ten road game, so they're due. But I just don't think it happens. Give me Northwestern. Thursday night, we have Iowa at Penn State.
Tough place to play because nobody shows up. I can't figure this Iowa team out. Penn State's got a little momentum going. Give me the Nittany Lions.
Yeah, give me Penn State at home. I don't trust Iowa either. Their guard play has been hit or miss with Perkins and Sanford. But yeah, give me Penn State in that one. Saturday, we have Wisconsin at Rutgers.
Good week for the Badgers on the road. Give me Wisconsin.
Yeah, give me Wisconsin as well. Illinois at Michigan State. This is a CBSer.
Sorry, J-Man. I'm taking Sparty in a close one.
I'm taking Sparty as well. It is nice Illinois has pretty much a full week off, 6 days off. Yeah, Michigan State's the more desperate team, especially to get a marquee home win. Give me Michigan State in that one. Maryland at Ohio State.
I think the Bucks have a good week this week. Give me Ohio State.
Give me Maryland on the road. Maryland doesn't win road games unless it's in Champaign, but they do in Columbus. Michigan at Nebraska.
Nebraska. They don't lose.
Nebraska loses this one, they're done.
Yeah.
But give me Nebraska. Doug McDaniel will not play in this one because he's suspended for the road games, which is stupid. Indiana at Purdue, 7 p.m. Foxer.
Yeah, Purdue got their revenge at Assembly Hall earlier this year in a whooping. They lost at Mackey last year also, though. I think they get their revenge at Mackey, and I don't think it's real close. And I would say maybe Zach Edey breaks the Big Ten record with his 11th Big Ten Player of the Week award, but it's going to be hard when you only play once because he tied it with his 10th today. But, yeah, I think as long as Purdue takes care of the ball, they win pretty easily.
Yeah, Purdue might win by 25-30.
I hope you're right.
I think Indiana started to kind of give up, especially after losing to Penn State. I don't think Indiana has any sort
especially if they lose to Ohio State tomorrow night.
Yeah.
They could come in really with their heads hanging low.
Penn State at Northwestern.
Northwestern, good bounce back week for them.
Yep, give me Northwestern. I hope they lose at least one of these. That'd be pretty great, but they won't. Minnesota at Iowa, final game of the week.
Oh, man. Coin flip. So when this coin flip, I got to go with the home team. I'll go with Iowa.
Yep, give me Iowa. How about we do a few top 25 matchups here while we got time? Tuesday night, we have always a fun one here. Oh, we have Butler at UConn. Butler, huge win against Creighton the other night.
Huge win at Creighton. They're, as of right now, in a seat to make the NCAA tournament. These two teams played earlier this year. It was a single-digit win by UConn at Hinkle. I think UConn gets it done at home. I think UConn and Purdue are right there, neck and neck. The best two teams in the country right now.
I agree. Give me UConn. We have, I thought I just saw it. Actually, it's tonight. Kansas at Kansas State.
Give me Kansas State.
Really? Kansas State needs it. They are a bubble team. Give me Kansas, although they will be coming off a high of blowing out Houston at home.
Smacked them.
Let's see here. We can do two more maybe before I get you Birdie Bogey. If there's any good ones. It doesn't look like there's that many good ones that are not Big Ten games. UConn Georgetown will be a laugher. Pretty bad week. Gonzaga plays at Kentucky.
This is not the Gonzaga team we're used to. They're in trouble of missing the tournament for the first time in the Mark Few era. Give me Kentucky.
Give me Kentucky. I think Gonzaga misses it. That's a bold prediction. Last one here, Baylor at Kansas.
Kansas, they won't lose 2 in a row.
I agree. I think Kansas wins. Birdie Bogey, there are 4 quarterbacks who have lost at least 3 Super Bowls. Can you name them?
Yeah, I got 2 of them, John Elway and Tom Brady.
Yep.
I'm struggling, though, to get even 1, let alone 2 more. And I've went over Super Bowls in my head. I've went over teams who have played in a lot of them. I'm just going to throw out some old names that I don't even know because I know they've played in a bunch. Terry Bradshaw?
Nope.
Son of a gun. Roger Staubach?
Nope. You get a bogey.
I literally, I got nothing.
Jim Kelly lost 4 in a row.
Oh, my God. How did I forget about him? I forgot the Bills. I forgot about the Bills
Yeah.
even in my head.
I thought that was an easy one over Tom Brady because I didn't
Oh,
even know Tom Brady. I forgot about him losing the Eagles.
yeah.
And then Fran Tarkenton would have been a tough.
Okay. I thought about the Vikings, but I didn't think they had made 3 times. Jim Kelly, I should have got 3. That's bad. That's a bad
Yep.
bogey.
Yeah.
That's a bad bogey.
Thanks for watching the Tan and the J-Man show live on the ISC Sports Network. We'll be back at her next Monday. Have a fantastic week, everybody.